But then I see the bad news. Ace king off, but chat, look at that. Look at that. Are we really scooping 50k for free here? 56k. Are we really doing it?
Oh no, no way, no way. The Bencb fans out there.
Let's crush.
I actually think I'm gonna call this. I mean, our call full range is so wide. Good luck, us. Oh, nice hand. Again, we need 50% against the calling range, so we just call. Oh my god. You must be shitting me. Oh, please, this guy, we don't want to call from him. Alright, alright. That's good news. No 10 call. Alright, we take those folds. Alright, I'm back in the game. Let's go. There it is. Oh, that's it. Yeah, hey guys. Welcome. I'm reviewing my 10k FT. As you can hear, I have a little cold, happens. Sometimes life happens. That's why I also didn't stream on Sunday, but I'm already feeling much better. So since I had to skip on Sunday, I decided I review my 10k final table, which I also couldn't stream because I was in London. So I had to play it from my MacBook. And also, funny enough, the first 20 or 30 hands weren't even on the live show, on the broadcast on GG Poker's YouTube. So there were a lot of very interesting hands, and I thought I'm gonna go through it with you guys. So, grab your carrots, take your worksheets, pencil and paper, take your notes, listen carefully. There's gonna be some spicy final table content here. As I said, remember guys, I was down a lot on Sunday, probably like 120k. You can actually see it on the bottom. I think 120, 130, yeah, 120k. Plus minus 5, 10k. It's never 100% accurate. I was saying, chat, we're fighting. It only needs one tournament, right? And so I made day 2. I was still stuck like 60, 70k. Couldn't stream the final table because I was at the ESI in London, which is an esports conference, doing some business stuff there, and had to grind the final table on from my hotel room. So, first hand. Gonna put it in big blinds. So we started as one of the mid stacks. We had a bunch of shorter stacks, and the big blind here was Victor Malinovsky. You see here the table. So I was in this seat and I was across Victor, and he rips it in. I think with 10s we have a very trivial call. I think I would even call 9s because people induce here lots like ace, kings, queens, of course. So he's gonna be shoving all the pairs, a lot of like ace 5, ace 4, and also that was basically the hand. So as you can see, the final table here started me having 2.7 million. So I started with 1.1 million, but when the stream started, I had 2.7. Do you think he'd use his ace king there? Probably should, right? Yes. Like, I'm telling you, jamming ace king, in my opinion, is a mistake. Because if you think about it, if you jam ace king, the money goes in against queens, jacks, 10s, 9s, 8s, 50-50, right? So you have the benefit of folding out 10s. We have to fold ace queen, but if he 3-bets, we're very often going to be jamming ace queen, we're going to be jamming ace 5s, we're going to be jamming ace 4s. I mean, under high ICM pressure, it doesn't matter if you're on the money bubble, it doesn't matter if you're immediate pay jump and you have huge ICM pressure. Sorry guys. If we just take a random bubble spot here, let me find one. We have this scenario here. The big blind is a bigger stack, and let's just look against. Here, UTG2 is like almost hijack, right? 25 big blinds. It's almost a similar situation. Lots of ICM pressure on him. I mean, it's a money bubble situation, right? But it's going to be very similar in terms to understand how we're supposed to play these spots. And you actually see that this guy with 25 big blinds here is opening. And when we're in the big blind, we never want to jam ace king. And if you think about that, and just this is a random bubble situation, right? This is from our tier, ICM tier and paired, because I don't have this exact sim solved, right? But we can apply this logic, and we're also gonna have a lot of final table situation in ICM tier as well, if you have access to it, so don't worry. If you jam ace king, well, it's profitable, don't get me wrong, but by 3-betting, you force your opponent to defend with hands like ace jack, ace queen, a lot of ace x. It's a very ace x and king x heavy raising range anyway. And also now, if under the gun 2 here faces a 3-bet versus big blind, you see, in theory, he's supposed to jam those, right? Again, if your opponents are not doing this, so this is the point here. If you play against a recreational who calls you 3-bet with jack 10 suited, queen jack suited, 10-9 suited, then yeah, just jam it. But we see here, even though that our opponent calls these, we still want to 3-bet it. Just because getting these jams from ace queen, from some king queens, etc. is just so much better. And ace king has also jack 10, queen jack, etc. crush post flop, right? I mean crushed, but it's a clear favorite. It's not dominated, but some kind of like 60-40 or what is it, like 55-45, 60-40. Also, the power of this strategy is that it allows you to have loads of bluffs. You can just go absolutely mental with 3-betting here. You see that ace 7 off, ace 6 off, ace 4 off, king 6 off. You can just be super aggressive. The problem is, most players jam their ace kings, they trap a bit with queens, kings, aces, and still have lots of bluffs. That's why it's just super good to just 4-bet jam. Like in these spots, against a lot of opponents, when I sit here with a7 suited, I'm just sending it and I'm jamming. And actually the craziest hand on this final table was not even on stream. I played it against Victor, and I was so curious what he had, but we will see. So yeah, he jammed kings. Why is it not showing? Is it not showing the showdown? Yeah, I'm probably not showing in the hand history when I download it, but he had king 6 suited. So I think it's fine, but also here, I think it's better to call this hand. I mean, maybe he took me as an example, right? King 6 suited chat. But you gotta believe, you gotta own the king 6 suited. You gotta believe in the king 6 suited. You cannot just go ahead and copy Bencb and jam it. That's not how it works. You gotta devote your entire life to the king 6 suited. Then, and only then, it will do its magic, right? So you cannot just take the Thor's hammer and, you know, be a superhero. It also doesn't work like this. You cannot just take the code from Doctor Strange and put it on. It won't work either. So, that's why leave the king 6 suited with Papa and better call the king 6 suited and play it passive, right? For all the plebs out there. These were some sick streams over the last couple of days. I'm super grateful. Had a lot of big scores for me. A very successful WCOOP and WCOOP series. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. You've probably seen me doing a lot of plays that I before never used to do. Played a lot more aggressive in the different spots, but overall tighter, a more tighter aggressive style, simply because this is something we have discovered over the last couple of months with researching how ICM impacts all sorts of different stages, and you can practice and study this as well. Gives you an opportunity to gain a massive edge over everyone else who have no clue how real preflop ranges work in the early stages. And I also implemented that and considered that in the term masterclass. I threw out a lot of updates, new population analysis, telling you exactly what you need to do against different player types or populations without even having any reads. And we're currently running a massive promotion where you get a massive discount. Now it's your time. The ICM tier is going to be closed again in a few days. You're not going to be able to join it, then it's too late, and we're probably going to be opening up again in a month, 2 months, 3 months. We had it closed for a very long time. Well, now it's your chance, so grab this opportunity. You will find everything in the description, and now enjoy the content, enjoy the highlights. Once again, thank you so much for the amazing support. It was some really crazy streams, and I really hope you enjoy the highlights. So yeah, we doubled up. That was of course massive, right? And put us third in chips, but we're chilling. I mean, there's so many short stacks where right now, also the final table was pretty good in terms of my seed. I think Spice played pretty conservative. I'm not really sure how, with Bruno, we have a lot of dynamics, but you never really know Is he right now perceiving me as aggressive, as passive, as a calling station? I think Chris is probably one of the strongest ICM opponents on this final table, but he was sitting across of me. Also not a big stack, so as of now, not really a threat. Ramiro, yeah, can be super random. Sometimes he's just going absolutely mental on final tables, and then he plays super solid. Like, really, really hard to estimate. I think Bruno and Ramiro were like my two toughest opponents on this, or hard to judge. And whenever it's hard to judge what they're up to and what their game plan is going to be like, then it's difficult, right? King 8 off wouldn't be the worst open, to be honest, actually. Queen Jack off, yeah, the thing is now with also lots of shorties, the big stacks can all 3-bet me, so gotta be very careful about that. 8-6 off, mid stack opens, would you call, would you fold? So this is a clear call. If we look again here in a similar sim where we have a high pressure ICM situation where the mid stack opens, again this is money bubble, we see we defend really wide. Why? Because he's supposed to check on a lot of boards, right? So your equity realization is going to be insane. And we hit a decent flop, and I think calling is fine, I think raising is fine. My reasoning for raising is that I think people are c-betting too much on this board. Like this texture against big blind with ICM pressure, I'm fairly confident to say that this might be a board where you are might be checking your entire range. We might actually have leads, and I can see people still c-betting their 60-70% and just having all their trash and like. And then also once in a blue moon, they're probably going to be checking back ace queen clubs, you know, and they have like a monster hand to balance their range. And I mean, even if you have aces with one club, if you don't hit your club, you're hating your life. So I went for a small raise. Also allows me to realize my equity much better. If he has king, queen, diamonds, and he goes for a big barrel on the turn, we have to fold. Turn, I think I continue. We don't need to go big. Now my intention is just to realize my equity. I'm not really striving for fold equity. And my plan was also to jam the river unimproved. But then on the river, I did not. On this river, I was fairly confident that I would have still jammed like a deuce, a 7, of course, a jack. Because I think that if he has king, queen without a club, he's always folding, right? But now when people have trips, it's like he sits there, fuck, I have trips, fuck this Bencb, fuck, he has chips, I'm going to call. And I just don't want to be in that situation. So on this river, I decided to give up, even though this might be GTO bluff, where I also think he's supposed to fold a lot of King X. And I actually thought that Sergio will understand how to play his ace queens and ace jacks, because he c-betted, which is not, it's not a mistake. I don't think it's a mistake. I think it's just a spot where you don't want to c-bet ace queen, ace jack. Doesn't a king on the river decrease the likelihood of him having a king? That's true. But then if he has a king, it decreases the likelihood of him folding significantly as well. So yeah, I chickened out. I gave it up because I went with my read. I was fairly confident he's not c-betting ace queen, ace jack with one club, which unfortunately he had the ace queen, queen and clubs, which is, yeah, a bit unfortunate. I think even maybe if the 10 does not get there, he would have folded, but on the turn already, but who knows. But it's also a good read. Like, next time you can just go absolutely mental against such opponent. Like in also all sorts of various spots. If you see someone just c-betting these boards with these kind of hands, his c-betting range is going to be way too weak, and it's so easy to punish an ICM. Because you also, like, the thing is, you're supposed to, you have 10 deuce in clubs, you have 6-5 in clubs, you have jack deuce in clubs, you have all the flushes in the world. Yes, and that's where you can take your 6-5, 7-6, 8-6, you can bluff all of them. You think he might have heroed? No. I mean, if he does, well, I don't care. I have so many value hands. That's going to be a costly mistake in the long run. Limping the ace-8 off. Yeah, I'm playing mostly limp strategy here when he has such a huge gap. When there's such a huge gap between us. Yeah, value bet the river. Call with a 10. Interesting, he doesn't bet the turn here. Who was it actually? Bruno. That's a bit of a weird play. I think on the turn you can go really big. Here we go. Here we go. The hand against Victor. That was a funny one. Victor opens. I think jamming is fine. If I have ace-8 suited, I jam it. Because he's gonna have more queen 9, jack 9, king 9 suited. I dominate more of his opens, right? So ace 9 suited is a little bit better calling versus jamming, and I think ace 8 suited is a bit better jamming versus calling. And then ace 5, ace 4 suited, we jam all of these. And then we 3-bet, would he fold ace jack suited? Yeah, he has to. And same here, like, I don't get why people keep betting these boards. I mean, did I have a gut or not? I had the 8 high flush draw, right? That's enough. The thing is, wait. The main point is I have a decent... Yeah, I don't have a gutter. But who cares? Who the fuck needs a gutter? Well, imagine the 5 or 7 yet, or whatever I thought I might have a gutter with. I think the 8 high flush draw is enough. I'm blocking some ace 8 clubs. Should probably be already sufficient. So anyway, ace 9 suited. Goes for a c-bet. I think we have a nice hand to raise, especially with these suits, because there's only one combo of ace-8 suited left, ace-8 clubs, and only one combo of 9-8 suited. If he's so out of line opening this, but I think the ace and hearts is very important here. So I raise, I think fairly standard. He re-raises me. What the fuck is he trying to tell me? Are we gonna go for the war? Are we gonna go full on war on a 10k final table? For $250,000 on stake, let's go to war. I thought so as well. He calls. I was actually thinking just jamming looks so fucking strong. The jack is perfect, right? Some 10-9s get there. We probably not... I mean, I would probably keep bluffing with the jack 9. I think once this action happens, he's on a queen on overpair. Alright, he still doesn't have enough. On this turn, he's probably already supposed to fold overpairs. Where's the benefit of check raise instead of call? Because we want to apply as much pressure as possible with more 8x that we have. I mean, we defend 8-6 off. He's already puking stacking off with aces kings, and especially if we have a suit that blocks the ace-8s, might be one of these spots where you raise all the ace-x and hearts. And since he needs that's the point. Like, the thing is also, I usually don't want to study these spots because I'm pretty sure he's not supposed to c-bet this board. If he doesn't have queens or ace-8 suited, he doesn't have a single hand that wants to stack off on the river. In Chippy V, we don't care, right? If we have aces, we call down 25 big blinds next tournament, technically. But here, no, you're just not supposed. This might even be where we lead. We probably have also a bunch of leads on this flop already. And when we have such a huge nut advantage, you want to be raising a lot here. You want to be the one that dictates the size of the pot, since we have all the good hands and he does not have. You don't want to sit there with 8-7 suited call and then he bets once or twice with king queen and checks it down. River, we send it. No, I mean, this is the best river. Like, now I literally, like, my goofy king 10, ace 10, like, you see ace 9, they're probably gonna have ace 10, I'm gonna have 10-9s, I'm gonna have jack 10s. I will probably now have some like leftover ace 5, ace 4 suited, right? And I can still jam any 8. Like, he's never gonna have a 10. He's sitting on aces, kings, ace, queen, king, queen. Ah, we got it through. So we're sitting there with 2.6 million, queens, small blind flats. Also, same spiel here. Like, this is a board where if we don't have the sets, we don't really want to play a big pot here. Right? So you want to start checking back some overpairs. That's it. So especially without a heart, with a heart, I'm more inclined to bet. Plays easier in big pots. You want to pick the hands that play worse in bigger pots and play small pots with them. And the ones that are able to play bigger pots, you bet with them. If he bets against a small bet, we can raise for value. He folds. Pretty straightforward. Oh, it was also an interesting hand against Ramiro. Yeah, I think flatting ace queen off is pretty standard. Or 3-bet fold is also fine. Against certain opponents, I would 3-bet. I mean, he's technically supposed to fold like crazy, but most people won't. We definitely bet here. And since he's gonna have a lot of ace deuce, ace 5, he's still gonna have kings, queens, jacks, 10s, right? I think most opponents won't fold against a huge bet here. So Why want to play a big pot on the hard turn with no... I mean, it's not a... It's a check flop. He mini bets the turn with a small lead. We still have an overpair. We want to find a good balance between getting the most out of our hand without jeopardizing our tournament. Doesn't mean you're supposed to play super passive and only call against small sizings. We have a clear value raise, right? Is he going to call worse hands if we're going to raise? Yes. Do we raise? Yes, right? If you would re-raise me, I fold. Why raise queen on 8 if you previously said you don't want to play big pot? It's not a big pot yet. If he bets to 3/4 on the turn, I call. So the small lead is essentially almost the same as the check to me, and then I want to put in one big raise. You rate the fact of nut advantage ICM. Yeah, nut advantage ICM is way more important than in chip EV. What would you call if he re-raises? Just a hard redraw. And I would also check back flush draws on the flop. Thing is with queens on this board, or like we had earlier on the queen 8-8 or on the monotone board, with most of your value hands, you don't have 3 streets of value, right? So once I check back a street, then I can start putting in money. I can still play 20, 30, 40 big blind pots. The small blind does not have nut advantage on the flop, but he does not have hands like King 8 off, Jack 10 off, Jack 9 off, Queen 9 off. All the hands we're opening from the button. So he has a more condensed range. And if you look at his flatting range, it's going to be, he has all the bottom sets. He's going to 3-bet some of the middle strong top, and then of course the good top pocket pairs. He's not going to have King 10 off. He's very likely not going to have Queen 10 off. We have just a much wider and weaker range on this texture. It's not about nut advantage on this texture, but we need to start thinking about balancing our range against an aggressive opponent. I would literally never do this on mid stakes or low stakes. If you call it turn, would you value bet clean river? Oh, it really depends on the river cards. Maybe, maybe not. You cannot copy things that I apply on the flop 1-to-1 to turn and rivers. Just because I check back doesn't mean I'm never allowed to raise. Alright, because once you re-raise you can fold. Listen, the c-bet on the flop is not bad. It's like totally fine. Like on this texture, it's definitely better to c-bet than on queen 8-8 or on monotone boards against the big blind defending range. It's a whole different story. But just like we have 10-9 off with no redraw, no backdoor draw, Jack 10 off, maybe 9-8 off, King 9 off, Queen 9 off, King 8 off, lots of off-suited 8. Our range is so wide, it's super easy to punish with check raises. And on these stakes, I need to be a bit more mindful about this. But this whole concept about balancing, I would never do this on mid stakes or low stakes. And against not even most opponents on high stakes. But Bruno can be fairly aggressive. No, I would not flat ace king there. Here, yeah, I would. He folded anyway. Let's move on. I didn't want to make now 6-6 bluffs. We just have such an insane EV with 2 recreationals here playing 6-handed that I don't need to make insane bluffs against the other good opponents. Just stupid. Okay, that was fucking wild. I lost this pot because this guy didn't open his pocket fucking 7s. That's why I lost the pot. Because now he calls and he hits his Miracle King. That was a bit frustrating. Yeah, but we lost the minimum. It's fine. We lost the minimum here. He somehow overtook the chip lead, like... But I guess he won a lot of all-ins. Like, look at this. He has a comeback. Yeah, again, keep opening wide. Like, even he folded ace-9 suited. I think at some point they started adjusting a little bit, but so far nobody has really adjusted. So we just keep grinding it. Yeah, we can't call this off here. Okay, so here are my thoughts. Do you guys think I care about blockers here? No, of course not. Because he's, of course, also not choosing the right hands to 3-bet. So... do I think he's doing this with aces and kings with this sizing? Yeah. Do I think he's doing it with queens or ace-king? Probably not. Can he have bluffs? For sure. So the moment I don't think he's going to have ace-king or queens in his range, it's so easy to overbluff this spot, right? So when a recreational does this, or a fun, or at least a player I don't know, I mean, these days you have to be careful and politically correct with everyone, then I'm probably 4-betting a lot. Can you own me with that? Totally. Can you exploit me with that? Totally. Do it next time, ace-king, I will 4-bet the shit against you and you will own me. Are people adjusting? No, I'm saying I'm doing this shit for 10 years. I've not seen anyone 3-betting with so small with ace king here. Unless it's the same tournament. I would be very careful. After I did this, I was a bit more careful later on. You will see that. Do you think there are some reasons to play a loose gamble strategy to win a tournament in consideration of others? It's not about loose or gamble. It's about profitable versus not profitable. You have different sectors. You have tight and profitable. You have loose and profitable. You have aggressive and profitable. You have passive and profitable. That's what matters. There are certain situations where you adjust, you play aggressive, you be tight, but you sometimes loose and gamble is the worst and you just lose. As Jeremy said, yeah, you take. I just took a calculated risk here. But I did this based on my experience. I didn't do this, oh, I need to gamble, I need to be aggressive in order to win the tournament. No, I did this because of my experience, the way people construct their ranges when they 3-bet from the big blind with these kind of sizings. I know 90% of the time they're full of shit and I can just 4-bet. I 4-bet to, what was the sizing here? Just small, like, I mean, what is he gonna do? You wanna invest another 600K with your jack high and play out of position for the rest of the street? Probably not, right? So, all right, Ellis lost. That hand was, yeah, I think now it's different, right? Now he's in position. Now the sizing is much stronger, right? So it's a whole different story. Also, he did it with pocket eights earlier. So now I'm assuming he can do it with tens, with jacks, with aces, ace king. Do I want to jam here? No. It would be terrible in this lineup again. So we just call. Also, I walk you through here. Very simple exploitative reads on the population. I mean, flop, we have an easy check call. He has done it with eights. He probably is going to do it with pocket nine. So we're still in a good shape. Turn. He bets this sizing. I was really confident he does not have a value hand. Because people do not bet that. If he has aces or kings, he would size it up. Probably already on the flop or turn. It's very often going to be ace 4, ace 5, 10, 9, king 10. Maybe he block bets a pocket 9 type of hands. But I was fairly confident he's not, maybe a miracle jack. But more often ace king, Barrett's ace 10. That I'm still good enough. So that's why I called. Like most... Terrible blocker with a 10, I know. But I pay more attention on the way people play poker. And in theory, you probably see this a fold. But when I put in give the solver the input of him not having aces, him not having kings, then it's a call, right? So, I mean, you don't need to put this hand in a solver, you probably see a fold. But yeah, I mean, he still has a lot of equity, don't get me wrong, but I also get insane price. I only need to be right, what, like 30% of the time, 20% of the time. And I think River, he gives it up. We scoop a big pot, but he got there and that's fine. King 9. Yeah, I think this is a really nice hand to open. We make him call 10-8, 9-8, Jack 9, all the hands we haven't dominated. King 3, all these hands would check back. We make him fold 4 deuce off, 6 deuce off. A lot of the hands that have 4 outs against us. Well, how big is the factor of your future? I still have 20 bigs. I can 3-bet fold. I can open. I can rejam. If it would put me to less than 15 big blinds, I might have folded, but the future game here. And also I would have had the runaway chip lead, right? So upsides a lot, downsides not really. So King 9, clear open to me. I see way too much limping with these kind of hands here. I mean, we also flop something decent. He calls. I think I should just go for it. I think I should just bet turn jam river against this king 3 to king 8. Maybe get some hero calls from 7x. Yeah, I don't think we can raise. Again, it's a very thin bet here. Like, I barrel jack 10, ace jack. I mean, he's probably thinking I have a queen, right? Yeah, river. He was tanking very long. I think he would often jam a king on the river for value, but yeah, leading is a bit awkward, but yeah, we have to be now a bit tighter because we're not in the position as a big stack anymore. They get it in. Good for us. We ladder. Bruno with a nice 3-bet here. I think he's also picking up on the read that he's opening to wide. I mean, lots of draws that bust, right? 10-9, Queen 10, which he's not blocking. So Miro likes to look up people as well. I wouldn't be surprised if he calls there. I think it would have been a great call. He folds the king 6 off. That's also very inconsistent. But we take the walk. Wow, he folds the 4-3 suited in position. That is very interesting. Gonna check this spot. It's always good to see if some other good players are doing something I would not agree with. That either means I am right or he is right and I can learn something. Yeah, again, this knight guy here with his small bets, I think he also played it post-flop pretty face up. And Ramiro, nice bluff there. I was really tempting to forward this spot, but the 9 is a pretty... Because he's going to be 3-betting a lot of like Queen Jack, Queen 9, Jack 9, Ace 9, King 9. Like, it's better to have like King 5 off in this spot. You see it? Oh, I'm taking... But I was like, that would be a bit too crazy. If I have King 5 suited, I'm cold forwarding the spot. Cold forwarding with Tony, it's super standard on final tables with ICM. You click it to 1.2 million, you can still fold. You're not committed. Oh, what am I doing? Ace check off. Yeah, easy raise call now. Four-handed ICM gets a little bit less. I mean, this is something you can learn in our new tier in paired ICM. We are running a huge promotion right now. That was the hand. Massive discounts, limited slots. We're going to be closing it where you will get access to all sorts of different preflop ranges with ICM. ICM impact, I've just shown it, right? You can always compare here for all sorts of different stations of the tournament. This is a money bubble spot. I mean, it's a no-brainer. It just improves your preflop game so much. Small field, large field, medium field, different sizes of the tournament. And you can finally learn how to play preflop ranges in different stages of a tournament. And we're going to be adding final table ranges as well. So here in this spot, I think I leveled myself a little bit too much, but this happens. If you play exploitative, sometimes you also make dumb decisions. I think shoving is also fine. With this hand, like if we can have a look in a similar, let's just take a money bubble situation here. So let's say the big stack, the big blind, let's say 3 bets against UTG2. UTG2 facing 3 bet versus big blind. Yeah, you see in these spots, not now Queen Jack suited here, but you see that very often. Like it's very often King, Queen, King, Jack suited. Sometimes Queen Jack suited, you will find this quite a lot. Because you unblock all these Ace X 3-bet folds, you block Queens, Jack still, you block Ace Queen, have good equity against Ace King. So not against this particular opponent because I don't think he will be shoving. He will be 3-betting Ace King. I think with these stacks he's just going to be shoving it. But I think I can just at least call. It's not that big. But again, I gave myself such a massive edge. I was like, such a good final table still. I mean, now the 2 best racks on this final table are still in the mix. But as we see, we have some good reads on Nike, and I was like, okay, it's going to be at best slightly plus EV to jam or to call, so I just let it go. Why are there limited spots? Because we want to reward action takers, and also we have an exclusive Discord group. We want to take care of everyone. We'll also be answering questions, and we want to also only people slowly invite them as soon as we see, okay, we can open up more spots, and also reward our community that have been around for years, because this is a massive advantage over everyone that does not have access to that stuff. That follow us, they see, they support us when this is released, and the fewer people have access to it, the more rewarding it gets for them. Because imagine you have a pool of 10,000 players, and if only 100 or 200 have access to it versus maybe 1,000, 2,000, it's going to be more valuable to those who have access to it if they only have fewer people access to it. It's that easy. It's just a sales tactics, and just wait a week until it's closed again, and then people like you cry in my DMs, oh, can you open up a few slots? And now you can just get the fuck out of here. All right, let's move on. Don't mess with Bencb when he's gonna be very salty. All right, so yeah, folded. I think it's I think it's at least a call. Yeah, I think it's a nice hand to raise just to get out these kind of like Queen 5 off, Jack 6 off, 9 6 off. No, I would never jam this. I've seen some sims where in ICM you want to jam those, but I think it's just completely retarded to risk your 20 big blinds for like, what is this, like a fart and an egg in the middle. There's nothing to fight for. Like, you risk 2.5 million for 300k. Like, I'm always paying attention what am I risking and what's the reward, right? Then, and just small. Also, we're going to be head if he calls with 9-8 suited, Jack 10 suited, etc. So not in a bad shape against these hands either. Pocket fours. Wow, that was too much to show off, yeah. I mean, this is also what I meant, like, by it's still a soft table. That this guy calls it off with force, right? That I anticipate mistakes in the future that I will benefit from without me doing anything. That's why I want to stay away from marginal spots. I mean, this is just a really crazy call here against this rejam. But we take it, gamble. Yeah, now open jam is too deep with the button. Yeah, I went for one step here, just make him fold all sorts of ace highs or maybe a 10 with no redraw. What do you call it? I would probably call sixes and better. And now we have short-term value, like if he has ace high flush draw, of course he calls. King, queen off. Yeah, we take a step. I mean, raising is fine as well. It doesn't really make any difference. I think there was one more interesting hand. Yeah. I mean, I also decided to 3-bet him a little wider here. I think as long as you have like an ace, king, queen, or jack, it's fine, whatever you want to 3-bet there. It's on final tables, it's so much more about timing and momentum. Yeah, I think it's fine to jam. Again, I like to 3-bet more often these spots. I think people play really poorly against it. He's also supposed to jam a lot against that. I think it's also better just to jam to take those 1.1 million. It's just so much EV. It's like, it's really hard to make, like, I need to be a fucking mental maniac and go crazy post flop. Why not pure queen 10 suited in position? I mean, you have to ask him. I don't know, like, ask him. No, you don't do that much flatting anymore. Like, just probably aces. I mean, if you, I don't know, you can just take a spot here. I know what you mean, but let's actually take this one. Cut off 20 big blinds versus big blind with 50 bigs. And he faces a 3-bet. Like, you see, and you see, like, I've seen this a lot. You don't do that much flatting anymore. It's just, again, aces, kings, and then you balance it maybe with like a few suited aces, but ace, king, ace, queen, ace, jack, you just jam. Like, there's already so much dead money in the middle that you want to win that. It's almost impossible to win more EV by calling and let your opponent bluff or have some sort of run out or setup that would justify just calling. In fact, you're going to let your opponent over-realize its equity. Also, since he covers, I'm not supposed to bluff a lot. So you're actually not benefiting that much from crazy bluffs because I'm supposed to bluff so way less in ICM versus Chippy. In Chippy V, you see way more calling, right? You see that here. Chippy V just wants to call. Why? Because also we bluff more. It makes a lot of more sense. In ICM, and you see that a lot of people freeze, they don't bluff a lot. Even less than in theory, but even in theory, with a reasonable amount of bluffs in ICM, which is less than in Chippy V, you're still not calling that much against 3-bets anymore. You just jam a lot. Doesn't mean you have to do it, but it is in theory the superior strategy or the better strategy. And which also makes a lot of sense to me because, I mean, you see me here. Like, I mean, this is in my opinion, probably the biggest mistake on this final table. I should just jam this flop. Like, it's not a huge mistake. My plan was to go to delay c-bet. I think if he has king 10 clubs, king jack clubs, he's now just going to bet call. He's just going to jam. And other than that, he's going to check back his king queen in diamonds, his ace 10 in diamonds, whatever he has, right? And I can go for delay bet. And he's still going to have a lot of strong hands here. So that's where I want to take a step, make him fold king 10, king queen, king jack. maybe low pocket pair or whatever. But yeah, and once he calls, I knew he has an ace. And how much weight is given to post-flop in these ranges? A lot has been calculated based on all the necessary post-flop assumptions and factors. What happened here? Yeah. Interesting that he bets it. Wow, okay. Oh, he folds the king six suited. Wow. This is what I mean. Like, I won pots I was never supposed to win. How would you consider the fact that people are overflatting under ICM circle? Yes, I would definitely do more jamming with ace king and ace queens instead of inducing, and still consider it post flop that their ranges are much wider and you can actually do more bluffing. Depends on the texture though. Yeah, I think we have to check here. I mean, we don't really want to play a big pot. Going for a check raise for value on the turn against this sizing. Getting a bit of extra value. Intention is to check call the river against his 10 deuce and hearts. I check raise relatively small. He's gonna have 6-7. He's gonna have 10-5. So definitely see. Yeah, this deck's just an easy fold here. Also here sixes. We're in position. I want to induce something. I can even raise to like 400k, 380k. I don't need to make it that big because he's gonna struggle with jack 3 off, right? Even against the min raise, right? Yeah, king jack. I just want to jam. I want to make him fold like maybe an ace deuce off, which is unlikely, but you never know. That was a crazy turn play here from Ramiro. Bit out of line. I mean, have at least a queen, right? Like queen 4, king 4. He raises this shit. Yeah, he probably got a bit annoyed by me raising the big blind. I think he was probably just fed up me raising the big blind so often. I think this is a spot timing-wise where I usually would have 3-bet here a lot. What is the benefit of raising 6-6 versus MP from SB instead of jamming? To induce jams from offsuited king X hands, offsuited queen X hands, king deuces, king 3s, etc. Getting calls from jack deuce suited, 10 deuce suited, playing post flop. All right, chat. Are you ready to see the sickest bad beat / cooler I've ever had in my career? It should be almost there. It should be almost there. All right. So here it is. I mean, we're never supposed to make it heads up, right? Like never ever in this fucking world are we supposed to make it heads up. This guy rips it, which I don't know. Like, I mean, yes, ICM's still big, but ICM 300, 400 is always a little bit less than 8 or 900 because you can gamble a bit more. Because if you double up, if you win a big pot, you're going to win more prize money. You can have a huge shot to win the first prize. If you double up 9th place, look at the mini pay jumps, right? It's like, that's why your incentive is more to fold, at least take those small pay jumps without risking too much. And then later on, we don't mind here. Like I would 3-bet and play for stacks with ace king, fuck it. Like, and he just rips it. And like sits there taking it. I'm sitting on more hotel room. Vamos, andale, vámonos. Coconuts in the middle. Jawohl. But then I see the bad news. Ace king off, but chat. Look at that. Look at that. Are we really scooping 50k for free here? 56k. Are we really doing it?
Oh, no,
God.
no way. No way. The Bencb fans out there.
Oh my God.
No way. Oh.
Oh!
Oh my God.
Wow. That
The
is
ladder. That was like a $60,000 ladder, right?
Well, it feels like as if it just happened. Wow, I was so fucking crazy. Like, that was so brutal. I'm telling you. Yeah, nom, we take it. We take it. I mean, then heads up here was just a few hands. 6 bullets, yeah, it took me 6 bullets, yeah. Yeah, it was nothing really. And he took it down then in the end. Jam ace queen into king jack. Mr. Benjamin Rolle on second place. That was definitely the most, I think, the most exploitative 10k I've ever played. Yeah, they forgot the 6 bullets, yeah. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I need to take care of my voice a little bit. I'm still recovering from a kleinen Männergrippe in German, we say. a man's flu. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Ben had to get second to break even. No, I had to be sevens, 6 to 8 to be break even, and 7s to have a little profit. Thank you so much, guys. See you guys. Have a good night. I mean, okay, it's 5 p.m. It's not that late. Usually I go offline when it's early in the morning. But yeah, see ya.